Oh.
Okay, so I heard from Helena. She doesn't think she'll be able to make it back. She's in this other training program that doesn't get out in time for her to get back when we start. She might show up later, but it's doubtful. She did tell me that she's finally found a new venue. She didn't tell me where it was, but it's a place that furnishes food and everything as live in. And says she has to go down in she's got about a week or two to put a deposit on it, and it's an unrefundable deposit. So that's, there's people sometime way off in, well, I guess it'd be next year in June, a year. It's quite a long ways from now. Anyway, so that's about all the news I have there. I failed to put out a questionnaire earlier this week, and I almost forgot about it entirely until Corona jumped me on it yesterday. Hey, Richard, is this happening, or have you forgot or fallen off the planet or what? Anyway, I forgot to put out a notice and ask for any questions that you wanted to bring up. So I'll have to do that now. And I will. Right now, I am. Anybody have any topics they want to bring up, or work-related issues?
Well, I've got one question. I just wondered whether it was just me or whether anybody else has experienced anything like this. My hands seem to be less sensitive than they used to be.
Your what?
My hands, when
Oh.
I'm working with people, seem to be less sensitive than they used to be.
Well, I think I could say the same thing.
Yeah.
But I don't, it hasn't stopped me from going ahead, being able to work. I'm more hampered by the fact that I can't hardly get up this ladder to my loft anymore, where I've got the table, and since they've been working on the houseboat and still have a long ways to go, the room is piled full of carpenter's materials. And I couldn't do it if I had to turn somebody away, because I couldn't do it. But of course, there is this thing that we used to teach about doing this,
Yeah.
Which does work, and it brings back sensitivity into your fingers and into your hands. I think that if you do that, years ago, I used to do it before every session. Then for a long time I didn't, because I was pretty hot all the time, and I didn't need it. But then later on I did again. And I think that you hear the same sort of thing being said by like Native American healers, Indian healers, that lose some of their abilities like that. So I guess it's called part of growing old.
I suppose it's also, as you said, depending on how much you do.
Yeah. Yeah, the more Shen you do, the more your flows keep being built up.
I have a question. I have a friend who was skiing, and he fell and injured a tendon in his knee. And he went to the surgeon or the hospital, and they told him that if he rested for 6 weeks, it would be okay. Now, I do a bit of work on him. I put the right hand, the sending hand, on top of the knee and the other hand underneath. Is that the right thing to do?
Well, there's when you're in a situation where there's a joint,
Yes,
I always used to work from several angles,
okay,
bottom to top, top to bottom, from one side and then from the other side.
okay,
And I certainly would do that. If I only were going to do one, I think I would do from the back of the knee to the front of the knee.
okay.
But you're also going to need to do flows that would, which foot is it?
The right knee.
Oh, the right knee. Okay. Well, you'd want to do flows from the bottom of the right foot to the top surface, just above the that is on the thigh,
Yeah, okay,
just beyond the kneecap.
okay,
And then I would do the same thing from behind the just put my sending hand. In that case, I probably put it on the front of the shin, just below the knee, and then at the hip, so that you're doing flows that encompass
okay,
the normal flows, as well as doing a lot of work around the knee itself.
okay. That's helpful, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Now,
you.
I have no idea how accurate the medical doctor was when he said you just take, what do you say, take six weeks?
Rest. Yeah, I've rest.
Yeah, well, it may work very well if he's actually torn it. Now, if it were just a little tiny bit, it's really hard to heal a tendon.
He was very sore. And when I worked on him, it relieved the pain for
Well,
the time being anyway.
yeah. And then how many times you work on him?
Twice so far. Three times.
Has it come back, or
No,
is staying away?
It is, yeah.
Oh,
He was
okay.
delighted with it, yeah.
So does he have any pain now or at all?
He has a bit sometimes. He twisted it yesterday and thought he had hurt it a bit, but he found relief when I worked on it again.
Well, then the chances are he'll be okay after the end of that time. That sounds good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Anyone else? Well, anything else you want to bring up about Shen and the practice of it, or?
I'm not totally prepared for this question, so I'll fumble on anyway. Remember, we talked about doing back sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a client who used to come to me in the past because of sexual abuse. And it wasn't easy working with this client. However, she had a car accident a few weeks back, very bad car accident. Injured her shoulder and her elbow. She doesn't like Shane because she's afraid of going there, if you know what I mean. Sexual abuse. She was raped many times.
Yeah.
And for that reason, she doesn't like having Shane, deep Shane. So I done a back session.
Is that because she's not afraid of you, is she?
Oh, not me, the experience.
She's just afraid of bringing up old memories?
Bringing it up. Yeah, yeah. So I said, we'll do a back session to have a relaxing before so while I was doing the back session, her whole body started to quiver, shake. And this was as a result of the car accident. She had memories come back from the blow she got to her shoulder and her elbow. I stayed with the back session.
Yeah.
Because I knew if I went on to do Shane, I might have lost. So yeah, we continued with that. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy with what comes up in the back session.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is
I have noticed that in the past as well with some people.
yeah,
It does open up, yeah.
Yeah.
Centers.
yeah, I think it's really important to do that session after you've done several with someone. It's very important to do one. Kind of brings
Yeah.
everything all together and closes things.
Yeah, yeah.
Francisca, or somebody started to say something. Who?
No, it's okay. Have many of you worked with rape, sexual abuse?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a long drawn out process, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, yeah. Sadly.
Yeah, I've worked with a lady for about 5-6 years now at this point.
Really, yeah.
And she was like horrendous, really multiple rapes and captivity and that kind of thing. And really, she wasn't able, her whole body would go into kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, spasm, you know, go solid.
Yeah.
Solid as steel, really. If I did Shen flows, you know, through her cot or through her solar plexus, or so I began to actually just sit and let her lie on the table, and I suppose safety was like she was very happy working with me, but at the same time safety, kind of that deep safety was really important. So then I began to do very long peripheral flows, or I might just put one hand on her shoulder for a session. And yeah, we've been going one step forward, 2 steps back at times, but I think what she's got very recently now only is she's begun to become empowered.
All right.
And she's kind of thinking differently, and like she would have been heavily suicidal a number of years back, very suicidal. So she's now thinking in a much kind of more, how would I put it, grounded adult way, I guess, or I don't know what words to use,
How about
but in a
saying
very
less,
grounded way.
less fearful?
Yeah, absolutely. And at the same time, I'm conscious she may go 2 steps back again, and that'll be okay. But hopefully not. She seems to have kind of crossed a threshold lately. So we'll see. But it's very slow and very sensitive kind of work, I guess.
Yeah. I had a client who came, she was teaching summer school here, teaching the Irish college, and not a friend, a client, yeah. So she had also been abused, badly abused, but she came back quite chirpy this particular summer. She says, you know, I've had a lot of work done and I feel really good about myself, but I would like a wee Shen session. Well, she was shocked. She thought that she was over everything with all the work that she she was so disappointed, and she went through so much stuff even in that session. Yeah, so it is a slow and long painful process.
Yeah,
Is
like it takes
that the last
amazing.
time you've seen her?
Sorry,
Is that the last time you saw her?
well, she doesn't come anymore. Yeah, she was just testing. She
Yeah.
thought that she was okay and she was over it all. So no, it's not that easy to come through that pain.
Absolutely.
Well,
Can I just say something before we change the subject? On that subject, I had a client.
well, Jenny, please.
Yeah.
I was going to respond to what she had to say. So
Okay,
if you don't mind, I'd like to finish that.
sure.
Rose, it's very necessary, I think, to with a client like that, to talk to them about the difference between body memory and the mental memory, that they may resolve it mentally, but that their body still holds the traces of it, and that if the mental part has been pretty well dealt with, then it won't be very long before the physical part is all drained out and you get a completion.
Thank you. That's good to
Yeah.
know. Mm.
There is, I mean, we are bodies and souls, and if it's stuck in our soul there, why we can, with Shen, we can get it out. But it's a two-part thing. And since she went the mental route first, if she'd done the Shen first, she wouldn't have to do the mental route second, because it wouldn't be done. But anyway, so that's all. Yeah.
Can
But
you
I
just
found
repeat that, Richard? Sorry, could you just repeat that, Richard? If she'd done which work first?
If she'd come for Shen first and
Yeah.
got it relieved for Shen, both parts of it would be taken care of.
Right, yeah. Mm.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And David, you were going to mention something there, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Just my experience of clients who've experienced sexual abuse is that just my experience of them now has been that they tend to, their survival technique is mental. They use their heads to kind of live, I guess, or to kind of move ahead. So when they come, they're extremely in their head, is my experience. So, and it takes ages to get them to make any connection to their body, really. And then it's really slow. That's just my experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand at the same time, if we could do Shen immediately, it would be very helpful, but their survival technique tends to be cognitive, I guess.
I think one thing I'd like to say along this line was that I had one client that came to me from quite a distance on a regular basis, because she thought it was time she was just going to have to get rid of the trauma that was in her body. Her work, she was a trauma therapist. She worked with post-traumatic stress disorder and had for years, but it was all head stuff. She had never dealt with anything in her body or herself. And it was, she'd taken all the courses and got accredited and everything. And she had her own issues that she'd never dealt with. She did deal with them. She came for 10 sessions and she was clear of it by then. But it's just to show you that it's, you can talk your way all around it, but you've got to get it out of the body.
Yeah.
All right,
I
now,
have a
Jen,
client.
go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. In response to you just now, I have a new client. She's a psychotherapist. She's just had 2 sessions with me so far. And she's in exactly the same position. She's had sexual abuse, and I don't think she's dealt with it yet. I think it's going to take a while for it to come up. But
Well,
anyway,
you got a few things you can tell her now from that you learned today. So
yeah, definitely, that's good. I was thinking about another client I'd had who'd been sexually abused over many years. She'd had 12 years of counseling before she came to me, so she was very much in her head. And she was with me for about 5 years probably until I moved here. But she used to get this spasm. I don't know whether that's the right word, but this thing that would, like a grinding thing that would go on in one of her shoulders, in her shoulder blade, that would happen as soon as I put my hands on her. and also on its own in between sessions. As soon as she started to relax, this grinding thing would happen, and it took about 9 months for it to stop completely. So when she meditated, it would come back and make this horrible grinding noise. Yeah, it was really quite weird, but obviously her body was really locked up. She did make some progress. She really felt she did make progress, but you know, it was still this, every time I put my hands on her, it came up.
Yeah.
Has anyone had a similar experience with clients with that sort of thing?
Yeah, I guess I have definitely. I suppose very hard to describe it, but sometimes that client I mentioned earlier would feel as if she was just being trampled on by very heavy boots, and also would have pounding pain in her sexual areas, excruciating pain. So that's why I'd have to take it extremely gently, slowly. Sometimes would be hands off Shen, really. I might be doing flows through, but my hands would be off her body. So yeah, and it's almost scary to see it happening. The first time I didn't really know what was happening, but I guess I'm more used to it now. But it was just very severe. The severity of it was scary. But I think it's natural, I guess, because I'm sure her body would be feeling or would be holding incredible memory trauma from the past. I suppose the challenge then is trying to keep her safe, both during the session, but also making sure she's safe before she goes home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big challenge.
Yeah.
I think we all need a session after that.
Yeah.
It's so painful to
Yeah.
Yeah.
go through it all, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, we do have to take care of ourselves, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Thank goodness we can do some self-sham.
Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
things we can do, that's for sure. It's helped me many times.
But David, you're right. Those who have been badly abused, they seem to be on duty at all times.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, don't want to let go, and even before the session ends, are we finished? Are we finished? They just want to get off the table before going there. Yeah. But it's understandable if there's so much pain coming up. Yeah.
Well, if there's nothing else work-wise coming up, I think I'll stop the recording, because if we want to chat a little bit more, we can do that. But there's no need to let other people go on for a long time, okay? If everybody's ready? All right.
Yeah.
Sure.